seemed impossible, sounded like crazy talk, and yet it happened. A moment of unity between Republicans and Democrats, as they both condemned America's disloyalty to its Kurdish allies.
The President of the United States is in danger of losing the mandate of heaven.
This is bat crazy. It's just...
Which allies in Syria or elsewhere in the Middle East will fully trust the word of President Trump in the future?
The thing all of these politicians, pundits and channels seem to forget, though, is that the Kurds are used to waking up to a Groundhog Day of American betrayal. The only difference is that it's been going on for more than half a century and hasn't been funny at all. In the 50s and early 60s, the CIA pushed the Kurds to revolt against Baghdad as part of their efforts to overthrow then-leader Abdul Karim Qasim. Eventually, he was toppled by a coup, but the new ruler wasn't a big fan of the idea of Kurdish independence. So he bombed them into submission, bombed with napalm, kindly provided by the United States. The Kurds seem to either have a short memory or a forgiving heart, because in the 70s, the US was back on their good side. Iraq and Iran were involved in a border dispute, and Washington was covertly supplying the minority with weapons, once again pitching them against Baghdad. But then Iraq and Iran kissed and made up, and all of a sudden the Kurds were on their own, being blown to pieces as their supposed transatlantic guardian angel was watching idly. Even the Americans at the time admitted that keeping their involvement under wraps was simply no excuse.
This policy was not imparted to our clients, who were encouraged to continue fighting. Even in the context of covert action, ours was a cynical enterprise.
Covert action should not be confused with missionary work.
Fast forward to the 80s, and for the US it was the golden decade of big hair, Metallica, Madonna and MTV. For the Kurds it was, well, just another decade of more US betrayal. In the late 80s, Saddam Hussein unleashed his chemical arsenal against them, an atrocity looking bound to draw the wrath of the world's policemen. But it was still a long time before Saddam was to turn from friend to foe. So, American wrath didn't go further than statements like these.
We want to maintain good political and economic relations with Iraq, but the issue of chemical weapons gets in the way of that.
In 2003, it looked like the US was finally ready to make amends for its decades of forsaking the Kurds. Helping them was among the pretexts for the invasion of Iraq. But then, even in Washington, many took such goals with a pinch of salt.
The Kurds have every reason to believe, I think, that they will be betrayed again by the United States, as so often in the past. In fact, the spectacle of our inviting Turks into this war earlier, trying to bribe them into it, could not have been reassuring to the Kurds. They've been under the Turks before.
I'm against betraying the Kurds. And is your point, yeah, surely your point isn't that because we betrayed them in the past, we should betray them this time.
Not that we should, just that we will.
We will not. We will not.
Yes, they did. In 2007, the US let Turkey have its way with the Kurdish rebels in Iraq as Ankara launched a lethal bombing raid against them. This is, of course, nowhere near a full list. By 2019, America had left the Kurds for dead a few more times, both in Iraq and Syria. American traditions go beyond partisan lines. America loves having turkey on Thanksgiving, going to the pumpkin patch for Halloween, and launching fireworks on the 4th of July. Screwing the Kurds over is nothing but a decades-long political tradition for America, and they will abide by it, be they Democrat or Republican.